Hey Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Captain Claus MTG, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 picks for Pioneer from New Capenna. That's right, I'm going to put my hat in the ring for what I think is going to shape Pioneer. I haven't played Pioneer in God knows how long, and I haven't even looked at it even with the announcement of the Pro Tour being Pioneer. Will I still play it? Yeah, probably. I'll probably figure it out at some point. But I'd like to give you a fresh look before I get swayed by all the decks that are out there. Because also, once these cards hit the mat, it's going to be anybody's game, right? I'm going to tell you what I think is going to change Pioneer that's coming out in New Capenna. So with that said, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comments down below, feed the YouTube algorithm. We're hitting for 1,000 subscribers, so please help me out with that. If you've done everything you can to subscribe and everything else, check out the links to the eBay store in the description, the Patreon, and my personal email if you have any questions. So, with all that said, let's talk about new Capenna cards for Pioneer. We'll start off with our honorable mention of the day, and that is the Evolving Door. So for a green and 2, this is an artifact that for one, tapping it, you can sacrifice a creature, count the colors that sacrifice creature has, then search your library for a creature card that's exactly that many colors plus 1, exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the exile card, activate only as a sorcery. The reason why this is honorable mention is this is as close as we can get to Birthing Pod without it being as busted as Birthing Pod. Now, with that said, the whole 1 mana, you get something that costs 2 mana thing is going to be really rough. But just the fact that this birthing card effect exists, there may be some way to manipulate, break, maneuver this card into some kind of sick combo inside of Pioneer that could take over the format. Now, I haven't found it. I don't think it exists. However, I've been proven wrong on how broken cards are on regular times by new cards getting printed and they get to be abused. So, with that said, this is our honorable mention because I think it has possibilities, and if someone can break it, put some comments down below. All right, so now we'll start off with our top 5 cards. Our card number 5 is, wouldn't you guessed it, it is the Triomes. So Pioneer is a format where mana fixing is a necessity. I think these Triomes will help fix that a lot. Now, with that said, I don't think people are going to play 4 of these things probably because a lot of Pioneer needs untapped lands, right? And so because of that, you have mana confluence and things like that that are highly expensive in the format, like 30, 40 bucks, because it's mana of any color and it helps with the combos and helps quick. Now, they could easily run 1 or 2 of these. That way, they could put, if they have it in their opening hand, more power to them. They can play it, and there you have it. So I think these will actually help. The normal triomes do see a little bit of play. These are the rest of the color wheel, right? So I think it's possible, and I think these easily can come in at number 5 for mana fixing because we don't have fetch lands in Pioneer. So the next best thing, lands that produce any color. All right, moving on, we have number 5. That's right, we have the stimulus package. So green, red, and 2. It's an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 treasure tokens. You can sacrifice a treasure token to make a 1/1 green and white citizen creature. I say this is number 4 because this is going to be at the heart of a serious combo. I think will actually show up inside Pioneer, and we'll talk about that later. This is only one part of the combo, but this combo does, or this one part here does let you for 4 mana lay it and make 2 1/1 creatures, which if you have other stuff going on to get treasures with, makes this even better when you get to 4. So, and also multiples of these are just great, right? Because if you have multiples, you sacrifice a treasure. I'm pretty sure you get 2 tokens. So we'll talk about that combo later for a card that I think is a lot higher on the list because of everything it can do, and we'll have to talk about that later. So next we'll move on with card number 3. That's right, Patch Up. This isn't uncommon. Why do I think this is going to be Pioneer heavy? Well, for a white and 3, you can get up to 3 target creature cards, total mana value 3 or less, from the graveyard to the battlefield. This will recover every combo deck as they try to set up. So now you can actually layer um, your Walking Ballista slash um, Druid that gets -1/-1 counters to make mana. your um, what's that thing called? Hang on, I got one over here. Viscera Seer, blah blah blah. All these really cheap cards that come in that are part of your combo, and people have to start picking off. It will let them pick those cards off, and then by drawing this one sorcery card, let you get two or three, if needed, cards out of your graveyard that have already used to stop the combo, put them directly into play, and fire the combo off again. So I think this is going to be a big deal. If not a starting card, and easily a sideboard card in Pioneer. And I think this card in general is going to open up lots of extra combos inside that Pioneer format where the cards are limited and you need every card for the combo. And this gives you a chance to get all those cards back, especially when they're cheap ones. So this, in my book, is easily number 3 for Pioneer. Going on next, we have card number 2. Look at this little baby. Seen this in the top 5 for standard, right? This is Void Rend. So again, Esper colors, black, blue, white. It is 3 mana, but it can't be countered, and it destroys target non-land permanent. I think this is going to be key because it gets past all of the really weird counter spells or mystic disputes or whatever the case may be. So that you don't have to have a counter ward. You can just use this, stop a combo, and be done with it. I think this is easily number 2 because it's one of the few spells currently in the Pioneer format now that is not counterable, which means you can destroy anything and stop anything just by having this one card in your deck or even in the sideboard. But if you're playing these 3 colors or have access to these 3 colors, there's no reason not to play this card because it kills anything. It's basically an abrupt decay for the other side of the color pie wheel, and it's an abrupt decay that doesn't have a mana cost to hold it back of 3 or less. It's literally anything, you know. So I think this is going to see lots of lists, and it's going to be one of those cards that's going to be amazing, no matter what set you put it in, because it's just going to be that good. All right, and finally, we start off with number 1. Oh, bet you couldn't have guessed that. It's Bootlegger's Stash. Probably couldn't have guessed this from the stimulus package on number 4. But basically, this for 6 mana as an artifact that lets your lands tap to create treasure tokens is just absurd. So Pioneer has the ability to give you time to ramp to 6 quickly, and then after that, you make 6 treasures every turn. If you draw a land, you make 7, so forth and so on. But because of stimulus package, you're actually making 1/1s every time you tap mana. So I don't see how Bootlegger Stash is not just an insane card. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at the price of a lot of these cards before I picked them. That's why I'm trying to do them early before they actually have an effect on the format. But I do know, with Was It Trying to Look by Salt by Accident, that Bootlegger Stash is really far up there price wise. I think people already know how busted this can be. Not just with the fact that you can do the whole stimulus package thing, but remember, there's old things out there, older cards, like the ultimatums, right? Imagine being able to tap all your land basically for any colored mana. Like, you could run an all ultimatum deck with this and nothing but ramp spells. And it doesn't matter if you run all green mana because all you need to do is just get lands out, lay a Bootlegger Stash, and start tapping for artifacts. For treasure tokens, I mean. Like, there's so many ways around this card. This card is going to fuel so many different forms of combo decks, I believe, that in Pioneer, this will be a mainstay to have its own deck, and maybe might even justify a banning of some card inside this deck because the combo may be so fierce. Because there's all kinds of things where creatures come into play, trigger abilities, artifacts come into play, they trigger abilities. I mean, you gotta think, like, if you're running this in a stimulus package and you put something out that says when an artifact or creature comes into play or gets sacrificed even, imagine sacrificing your tokens, your treasure tokens to get 1/1 creatures that then deal damage to your opponent, and then you have a Viscera Seer or whatever it is that when creatures die, you deal 1 damage to your opponent, and now they're hitting the double whammy, right? Like, there's so much going on with this card right now that I think it's really going to take over the Pioneer format once people figure out what that right set is or that right deck construction to put this card in. So get them while they're hot, guys, because this card is going to be the next great hinge. and that thing's like $100 foil. Not even lying. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. Put some comments down below. Tell me what you think, if I'm right or I'm wrong. This is all about fun and games. Also, is there a card I didn't mention that you think should be on the list? Feel free to let me know, and I'll tell you what I think in the comments down below. So until next time, be kind, and as always, I hope to see you across from the game table.